An essential skill of a critical reader is their ability to distinguish between factual statements and those that are opinions. A critical reader understands that most of what they read is going to be a combination of facts and opinions, and they have the capacity to identify which is which while they read. Although this sounds simplistic, being able to recognize fact from an opinion can be pretty tricky, especially when the reading is complicated. Before we recognize something, though, we must first understand what it is. So let's talk about each of these for a minute. A fact is something that can be proven true or false. Typically in writing, a factual statement will include evidence or proof of that statement, or it'll be something that we can look up. Something to keep in mind about facts is facts can be true statements or they can be false statements, but they are something that we can prove or disprove. So even if something is false, it doesn't mean that it's not a fact. For example, an essential skill of a critical reader is their ability to distinguish between factual statements and those that are opinions. A critical reader understands that most of what they're going to read is going to either be a combination of facts and opinions, and they have the capacity to identify which is which while they're reading. Although this sounds simplistic, being able to recognize fact from opinion can be pretty tricky, especially when the reading passages are complex. Before we recognize something, though, we first need to understand what it is. So let's talk about each one of these for a minute. A fact is something that can be proven true or false. Typically in writing, a factual statement will include evidence or proof of that particular statement. Here's a couple of examples for you to look at. President Obama is the 43rd U.S. president. Well, that's something that we could look up and actually prove. Idaho became a state on July 3rd, 1890. Again, that's something that we can prove. Australia is the only nation that is also a continent. We could look up and verify that in fact Australia is the only nation and continent. So let's go ahead now and look at opinions. An opinion is basically a statement that is based upon a belief or a feeling, and it can't be proven either true or false. It's going to be kind of wishy-washy or uncertain. So let's look at a few examples. President Reagan was the greatest of all U.S. presidents. Well, he could have been. But then again, there could have been another one that was the greatest. So it's not one, you can't really prove it either true or false. Idaho is by far the best place to live in the world. Again, you can't prove it is. It could be, but then again, there could be another place that is as well. Just depends on the characteristics that you're looking at. And lastly, everyone would like to live in Australia. Well, everyone, I might, but you might not. So when you're dealing with opinions, oftentimes they'll use absolutes, like in this example, everyone. Well, not everyone would want to. Or in the Idaho example, it's the best place to live. Well, it could be one of the best places, but I don't know if it is the best place. So you kind of can see how they are different, facts and opinions. Let's go ahead and practice picking apart a paragraph using this paragraph. So pause the video and read through the paragraph. So let's go ahead and go through each sentence and determine if it's a fact or an opinion. Here's the first sentence. Of all the places to live in North America, Idaho is one of the very best for raising a family. Well, it could be, but I'm not sure. It has a couple of absolutes in there. Is one of the very best. But still, I think it's more of an opinion than a fact. So I'm going to say opinion. The next one is Idaho is a state in the northwest region of the United States of America. Well, I could look that up. And if I were to look on a map, sure enough, I would find Idaho is a state in the northwest corner of the United States. So I'm going to say that that's a fact. This location makes the weather and climate an ideal place to live for any family. Again, in that statement, there's that absolute of any family, Well, Idaho is mostly high desert and mountains. What if I require a humid, warm environment? Uh, it wouldn't be a good place for me. So, again, that's an opinion. It depends. So the next one, Idaho's official nickname is the Gem State, as nearly every gemstone has been found somewhere within the state. I could look that up on the state website or in the state legal statutes and find that, in fact, yes, Idaho's official nickname is Gem State. And if I were to go in and look in research and encyclopedias, I could probably find all of the gemstones that have been found in the state of Idaho to prove that that is probably factual. The last one is from the rural agricultural regions to the sophisticated and modern cities, Idaho is the true gem of the Northwest. Well, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know how I would even prove whether that was true or prove that it was false. And so that's my indicator that it's an opinion. So the next time that you're reading something, take a moment and break it apart and identify what's fact and what's opinion. Thank you.